Hello, my fellow rejects and siblings. This is Rabid. I'm here to talk about some more gameplay tips for Warhammer 40k Darktide. In this video, I'll be focusing on the Force Swords. So, what's the differences between, say, the Force Sword and the Force Great Sword? Well, I can tell you that the biggest difference is that the Blaze Force Greatsword, the one that's right here, it's a two-handed weapon that is pretty good at hitting multiple enemies at once, whereas the Blaze Force Sword is more of a single target, well, it excels more at single target elimination. It can still hit multiple enemies at once, but it's not going to be as not going to be as large as, say, the Great Sword can be, right? But let's actually just dive more into the Blaze Force Sword itself, and then we'll talk about the Great Force Sword. So, with the Blaze Force Sword, the one-hander sword, Uh, we see we have three different marks, right? Three different variants. And the first one that we're going to talk about is the Mark V, the Elise. So this one is actually pretty different from these two variants right here, the Obscurus and Deimos. So the Mark V is different in that it has longer, like horizontal attack patterns compared to the other two, where they're more shorter and more concentrated in like a tighter cone. And the activated special attack with this sword is actually very different. Let's see, before we move on, the heavy attack, it's the same as the mark for Deimos, but the Obscurus is actually dealing a lot more, but more on that in a moment. So let's focus on the Elise. So let's just take this guy on. We're going to hit them a few times. Like each sword, or each variant, will have a 12.5% critical hit chance. I believe that's what that number is at the middle of the screen there. So light attacks, you can see it kind of does these chopping motions, right? Pretty fast. And then the heavy attack, it's two attacks. They're actually the same. It just goes left and right. So it doesn't deal as much damage as, say, a great sword can do, but it still hits pretty decently, right? And then the activated ability, it's a horizontal, it's almost like a 45-degree slash, actually. So if you aren't careful, you can hit the shoulders of a larger target if you are intending to hit the head. So you might need to work on it. What is actually helping me aim better at head targets is like moving your cursor up to the side a little bit and up above. So now you see that it's actually hitting the head. Oops, just need to sit still. Nope. Maybe sometimes you gotta work on it. Sometimes it'll hit the shoulder. Now if you have two guys side by side, something like that, right? You'll see that it actually hits the target on the right side. It has a weird arc to it where it favors the right side. So let's try this again. It only hits the right side first. So if we did something like this, where we aim more to the left, now we're hitting multiple targets. See? Let's just get rid of this other guy. Alright. So that's pretty good against regular heretics as well. They can get chopped up pretty easy. These guys get chopped up too. But what about these guys? Wow, he got pushed really far. So it favors these really wide arcs. Like, look how far away the cursor is, right? So that is going to be one of the bigger differences between what's this one called again? The Elisi and the Deimos. What was that one? Oh, the Obscurus. Alright, so now let's go take a look at Deimos Mark IV. We're going to equip it. So the attack pattern, it's different, right? So stab or slash stab, and the stab is actually, it can stagger pretty good. Well, maybe it's better if we hit a larger target that won't just die. Well, it was staggering pretty effectively earlier. Don't know why it's not doing it now. Oh, my bad. It's the heavy attack that like stuns and pushes them back. So that's one. Oh, he just died. Alright, see, good thing I missed. Look how much like this thing pushes this dude back. Right, not bad. Also, I think when you run, you do the stabbing motion too. So you run, dash attack. So it's a good way to get like a piercing attack in. Which, you know, always has a good chance like penetrating armor. Alright, so what about the activated ability? Well, let's check it out. See, does a lot of damage. Especially when it can get crits on, right? Not bad. So, let's open this guy up here. Not bad, right? But what about, like, cleaving potential? Can we hit multiple dudes? Nope, not really. It likes to do the stab. And the horizontal-ish, you know, 45-degree slashes, it's very narrow. So you're really gonna need to, like, aim, like, at their chest to be able to hit the enemies that are, like, in your face. Right? Now, the other thing I want to mention before we switch out is that with these big animations like this, you can cancel it by dodging out of it. Useful because sometimes there'll be multiple opponents that you're fighting, right? And when you're locked in this animation, to get, you know, the most damage out of it, you gotta stay locked into it. At this time, other enemies are able to attack you. So, you know, be careful if you're using the activated ability because the other enemies can and will try to hit you. Alright, but what about... Select that, make sure it's selected. How about the Obscurus Mark II? Well, let's check it out. Alright, light attack patterns. So you see it's like two roughly 45-degree cuts followed by a stab. And what about this? So a vertical slash from the top followed by a roughly 45-degree angle cut. And see, oh yeah, the running. It's just a tap on the head. So if you really want to, go after weak spots, usually it's going to be the head. Maybe you want to consider using this variant. It might work out for you. The special activated ability for the sword is the same as the previous mark that we were using. You still can do the thing and then dodge out of it. Again, useful if you are being attacked by multiple opponents. Very deadly to get locked into that animation if you're facing down multiple bulwarks, multiple ragers, or even multiple maulers. Those things will take advantage of you getting stuck in that animation, and they'll try to hit you. So use it with extreme caution. Now with both this variant and what was it called again? The Deimos variant, because they're great at catching single targets, you can actually get a little fancy with it when it comes to the mutant. Now the trick here is that you just move out of the way. Wow, it actually killed it with the... Wow, I didn't know the brain bursting would trigger on that. But what you can do is that if you are facing down, mutant, and they're in the middle of the charge, charge up the activated ability, dodge to the side, and then quickly turn towards the mutant, and then use the attack on them, like that. So you might need to do a follow-up attack, but this is a great way to eliminate them. And kind of show off a little bit as well, so it's great for catching these guys. Now everything else though, just be careful again, like these things can try to, hit you when you're in the animation. As far as cleaving potential goes, let's see how that goes. Alright, it's still pretty narrow, just like the Deimos, so you just need to make sure you're aiming for a center mass and you actually be very close to the target. Okay, so that's everything there is to kind of know about the Force Sword. Remember, this is the one-handed variant. Okay, it's intended to be light attacks and all that. However, we still have one other Force Sword to talk about, which is the Force Greatsword. So let's equip that. So with this, warp charged, okay, and you'll see that this is going to be the activated weapon attack is going to be the warp shock slash, which is pretty damn cool, right? So they also has two marks. So let's take a look at the Covenant Mark 6. Oops. Should look at the stats first. So heavy attack is at 495 while the light attack is at 156. The light attack is also the same on the Mark 5, 6, 7, 8, Mark 8, but the heavy attack is a lot weaker. So let's talk about the Mark 6 first. Okay, so it also has a base critical hit chance of 12.5%. My other buffs in my talent tree are kind of buffing the base crit chance here, so that's why you keep seeing it fluctuate. But the base is the same between the two swords. So, light attack pattern. Okay, so you see it's like 2 slashes and down vertical strike. So what that can look like is if we take it to the regular freaks here, it's going to be hitting a wider arc, right? And you might have noticed that the bar to the right of my aiming reticle is actually filling up. So if we get some more kills, this is at charge 1 now. So we're going to do the special activated weapon ability. So it deals 116 base damage, roughly for one shot at this ogre. So let's fill this up. We're going to go to level 2. Now the bar will fill up on any amount of kills that you do. Alright, so what we got? 1100. As you can see, it deals a lot more damage when you are able to pump this up to level 2. And that should be pretty easy to achieve because there's always going to be a lot of enemies that the game will throw at you. Now, I don't think... I'm not sure if you get more charges out of killing bigger enemies. So let's show off the heavy attacks here. So it looks like that's like roughly a third. And well, we'll just keep attacking. So heavy attacks, 1 slash, 1 slash, or slash stab, I mean. What am I talking about? Right, slash stab. So I really like the heavy attacks because it goes right for the head from an overhand strike. Right? It's going to be able to consistently hit the head, which is normally going to be the weak spot, right? So what does the stab look like? Deals significantly more damage. It's got a pretty long reach too. Well, that's a crit. Right, 1600, 17, 22. I think that might have been a crit. It penetrates the armor really good. Wow, even on the like chest piece, it's still dealing a pretty chunky amount of damage. That was a non-crit strike. Okay. Alright, so this thing's like fully empowered, right? 1006. Not sure why it's not dealing as much as, or dealing as much as level 1 does, but sometimes that just happens, I guess. Ideally, it's supposed to work with, like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's watching this, the higher charge you go on the the gauge on the right hand side, the more damage you'll be able to do. At least that's how I understood it and how it's supposed to work. That reach with a stab, it's pretty far. Even on the overhand strike, got a lot of reach. .515 that time. It's cool with this sword, like, since it has such a long reach, you can dash out and go back in. This will keep you out of striking range of a majority of the enemies. That's pretty nice. They will just like tap them on the head while being out of, for the most part, harm's reach. Okay. So that is the whatever variant this was. I always get all the names mixed up. That's the Mark 6. So what about the Mark 8? Remember, the heavy attack is a lot weaker. Almost 100 points. Alright, so light attack patterns. Two very generous, almost 180-degree arc for the swing. Followed by not exactly 180, but it's like slightly tilted horizontal slash, right? Here it is. So what does that look like on these guys to show cleaving potential, right? So pretty effective at removing large groups of small enemies, right? But what about the heavy strikes? Okay, so let's reset it. So roughly a 45 if you're starting at the first one. However, if you chain it, it has this really nice overhand strike where it goes for the top of the head. Which, you know, I kind of like because it makes it easier to hit their head, which is, you know, going to be more susceptible to damage. See? Not too bad. Okay. And, oh yeah, the dashing strike. Let's see if I can demonstrate that better. Alright. It looks like it's kind of a horizontal slash, which you can then chain into the overhand strike. Pretty nifty. Alright, so I think that is all there is to the swords. Now you can do the warp shock slash from a distance away. But I don't know if it's dealing a whole lot of damage. Not really, huh? Well, that's just the uncharged state, so let's see how much damage this thing can produce if we are at a longer range from these targets. Oopsie, I missed. But I really like doing the overhand strike attack, especially if I'm trying to like rush an elite enemy or something like that, right? So let's do that. That's what I like about it. There you go. You might not be able to see it too well, but as I'm doing the wind up for the the heavy attack, I am sprinting in. I don't really know if it makes too much of a difference, but I feel like it does. Alright, so this is fully charged up. Amazing. So as you can see, it can take care of the mini freaks here rather easy. Alright, so I believe that's everything there is to know about the different variants, or I should say the different marks for the Blaze Force Greatsword and the Blaze Force Sword. So which sword do you think would be a better fit for you? Do you like the light attacks, quick and deadly single target removal, or do you like the larger swings and horizontal slashes that the greatsword can offer you, plus doing a ranged attack using your warp powers? Let me know in the comments. Both these weapons are pretty good, but I know what I like: the Force Greatsword. Alright, well, I gotta go, and thank you again, everybody, for watching this video. And hit the like button. Help me out a little bit. Really appreciate it. If you can also subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends and gaming groups. This will help with the algorithm and help the channel grow, because right now it's pretty microscopic. It's amazing that anybody can find these videos, but I do appreciate anybody that does watch them. And, well, I'll catch you all later. Peace out, homies. Bye-bye.